Peace, family. So we back with another one. Today what I wanted to do was I wanted to talk to my chosen ones about how you were not built to fit in, but you know how to blend in. A lot of us that is down here in this realm in today's society, that's still moving with source and creator, still trying to move as righteously as we possibly can, still keeping the word or the creator's presence very present in our atmosphere. We wasn't built to fit in. And because I do so much reflecting on my life, just always trying to get a better assessment of why I do the things I do and how I got to the space that I'm in, and also reflecting back on why beings operate the way they do. For me, I moved around a lot when I was little. I want to say when we was in New York, and I was born in Syracuse, we probably moved around at least like minimum that I can recall, minimum 5, 6, 7 at the most times in the span of 10 to 11 years. We moved to Virginia when I was like 10 or 11. I don't remember which one. You know, it all blends together as time goes on. And I changed schools a lot in New York. I probably went to about 3 or 4 different middle schools down here. Went to one high school, but I also just operated out here in life in general. And what I realized is I've always been me. I've never been confused. I've never been tricked out of not being myself. But when I reflect back on my life and just being honest with myself, and then I also use my Minnie because she's at those ages now herself, and she has to go through the system. You know, one, she's born into the system, and 2, me and her mom don't see eye to eye, so she's not in homeschooling and we aren't together. So that's a story in itself. But when I look back on my life, I realized I didn't have someone like me around to tell me the right way to do things, so that way I had a choice if I wanted to do it the wrong way or the right way. I went through a lot of trial and error growing up, and with going through trial and error growing up, we tend to follow the social medias, we tend to follow our peers, we tend to listen more to some of the information that our parents would give to us, either verbally or non-verbally. Non-verbally meaning that they don't ever tell you you're doing something wrong, because in the systems world, it's still okay. Reflecting back on this, I realized, like, through all the school changes, through all my life experiences, like, I just never fit in. But I knew how to blend in, which is a weird process, right? Because when you think about blending in, sometimes you think about changing your thought process, your ideology. Some people just only think about changing clothes. But what I realized with blending in, right, we got these avatars right here, and then we can retain a certain amount of information. So on a lower vibration level, as far as things I know I used to do to fit in, which I always dressed like me, but I always made sure, like, all right, so if everybody had the Air Forces low top, all whites, me, I'm gonna get the Air Forces all whites, but I'm gonna get the mids with the strap. So it's still like blending in, but it's still me showing. They had lows with no straps, I had the mids with a strap. Clothes, similar but different. The music. When I was younger, I used to realize, all right, especially when it got to high school, even if I didn't like some of the music that was on the radio, because we didn't have as much of a choice through our music as we do now. Like back then, you just had to listen to what's on the radio or whatever mainstream artist was dropping music if you didn't have access to mixtapes to do, to listen to other music. And I realized in high school, like some of the music I would listen to, I didn't even really like it. I listened to it so I could learn the words. So when my peers played it around, it allowed me to blend in better. I didn't think a whole lot of it back then because that's on such a lower level, Outside of the repetitive radio music we used to hear on a regular basis. So even if you didn't like it, you didn't have no choice but to learn it because it's on every radio station, or the radio station that you really liked always spun it around and around and around. So eventually you just learned the song and you singing along with it, even though you don't like the song. Now, being at a more mature age, a grown age, and understanding the difference between fitting in and blending in, I understood, like, when it came to fitting in, I really didn't care too much about fitting in. Like, I used to have females in school call me a dick, I had some of my male associates would be like, oh, he in the way, or they would just, have their own lingo that they would say about me or whatever. And I understood, and I especially understand now, that a lot of it came to dealing with and due to not being as cooperative and as bendable to what they would like me to be or like me to do. This part of blending and fitting didn't really create a lot of friction, but it made a lot of relationships part ways a lot faster than if I would have had tried to fit in. Moving down here, some of these towns, all the families are related, peers are, basically kin damn near, you know what I mean? It's just like people have grown up with each other, so you already don't fit into their inner circles because they've been grown up since little ones all the way up, and here somebody else come, or here I come just plopping in the middle, you know what I mean? The blend is the easy part. Blending, we all do that kind of unspokenly. One, because you may have a job, you gotta wear a uniform. That's part of blending in. It's not really fitting in because you're still your own being. You still bring your own personality, your own characteristic traits to whatever plantation you on. But the blending at the jobs would be at lunchtime sitting with everybody and having basic generic conversations, or joining in on the gossip as far as who they're talking about, who's doing what's happening, what's going on. That would be more so of the blending. During this spiritual wartime that we all facing right now, whether you are fighting for it, you chilling in it, or you are fighting with the opposition, we all have roles, we all have parts that we gotta play. See, some people had different things going on with them why it was harder for them to try to fit in. And what's crazy is just none of this be written, so it all just be free flowing through the universe. But we all kind of, to a degree, didn't really understand the difference between fitting in and blending in. So we used to use that terminology a lot. Oh, you trying to fit in over there, or you fit in over there, you trying to get fit in over there? No. You have to understand, if we was actually trying to fit in with a lot of these beings out here, our old peers, circles, we would still be in those spaces with them because we are highly intuitive. We are highly empathetic. That means that we understand on the highest level how to put ourselves in someone else's shoes. What's crazy about that statement is I had one of my siblings say this to me the other day. Said something about how he couldn't help me with something and nobody tries to put themselves in his shoes and he's one man, one person, blah, blah, blah type shit. And I just kept thinking to myself like, bro, we used to vibe more before I got to the space that I'm in now, and I speak about the creator, I speak about natural laws in life, you know, before I started moving the way I move and operate. It's to the point to where like I've tried so many different solutions and tactics to try to help my brother in those spaces. He got a daughter that's 2 years older than mine, and I pick my niece up, you know, often so her and my daughter can get to know each other because ain't no telling when I may go, but I would at least like the cousins to establish a relationship. See, when I look at me and my little bro situation, like, I still love him to death. He know I'm still going to war for him, but life is life, and we are learning, you know, to a degree. If you don't want to partake in this knowledge and information, cool. Stay on that side of the spectrum. But when I'm putting things on the table that don't have anything to do with us trying to fit in with each other, us, you know, it's other things on the table that's just trying to get us establish a better relationship so that way we can kind of flow and I can transfer some of this energy over there to you. I understand, you know, the spiritual contract signed and some of these demons is just not gonna allow people to walk away from these contracts as easy. But in my world, if any of my siblings wanted to do a play date with our children, get them together, go out and do something, plan an event or something, I'd be down. But it's impossible to get any of my siblings to do this. And I say that to say, like, with all my siblings, they've been my siblings my whole life. I never once tried to fit in with my siblings, my older siblings, my younger siblings. I've always been me in all spaces. See, they don't understand how we could go into their space, take in their vibes, listen to their kind of music. You know, I don't know if anybody's casual drinkers. I do socially, very seldomly. It's so seldom that I could say, like, I probably drink less than 5 times out the year. That's how minimal it is now. But I used to party all the time growing up, so alcohol was just never my thing anyways. I don't like being sick if I can do something about it. And they just don't comprehend how we can get into their spaces and still be us. I can go hang out with all my blood homies and still be on this God body time, and they all still respect it. Without any big fuss, fight, issues, they just understand, all right, that's Trak. You know what I mean? So even for some of the ones that's older than me, we could used to all be out wearing red and I'm still on God body time. You know what I mean? Just, I blended in with the bros, but I stayed me by fitting in. I mean, I blended in with my bros, but I never tried to actually fit in with them. I just always stayed me. We wore the same colors, but I was always me. Like, I was always me before I decided to make that transition over there. Now, I'm not big on walking that way of life right now, but I keep in contact. I communicate with some of them, blah, 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 whatever. But for the most part, you know, it's weird when you look at life and how we've been able to partake in so many spaces, places, and locations and still have been able to remain ourselves. We aren't that group of people that's running around saying, oh, I lost myself, I'm trying to find myself. We the ones who are saying, all right, I'm trying to level up. I'm trying to grow more. You know, this tree done made it to this height. If I focus my energy more, I can make it to this height. You know what I mean? That's just always been the process. They don't understand that we don't really care for fitting in. It throws them off. They like, why don't you want to be like me? Why don't you want to be like us? Why don't you want to do the things that we want to do? Why do you don't want to go to the places that we go to? And even if you do choose to once in a blue moon, you still always remain yourself through the whole process. You could be down on your last limb, leg, dollar, and it still didn't change who you are because you wasn't concerned with trying to fit in or keep up with the Joneses. Like, a lot of this has to do with our connection with Source. See, a lot of things we did when we was younger, especially me when I was young. When I was young, and, you know, watching movies and seeing things happen around me in real lifetime, I always knew that I don't never want to do anything that's going to stick in my mind forever. Even though, of course, we done walked away of life. But I made sure that if I was going to do things out here that stuck in my mind and my heart forever, I made sure that it was something that I would be able to live with, because I understood that in here, nobody outside of us really has the power 100% to dictate this in here and in here. We all know that MK Ultra is a real thing. You know, the system works on it, doing it, blah, blah, blah. We already know they got all these alphabet communities and groups that, you know, work on gang stalking and doing things to us. But you have to take in consideration, look at how hard they have to work. Look at how hard they have to work. We make them do their fucking jobs, because it's never no cakewalk on this side of the spectrum. We've been given infinite power and strength through Source and Creator. I done been on so many roller coasters, down and out, up and living, down and living. My mini said a statement the other day, and it just blew me, because it's like, she's like a little version of me. She was doing something on, like, I think she was like creating something on like CapCut. I be showing her how to, you know, be creative in the digital world, because we do have access to it. So it's like, you can do your entertainment over there in the digital world, but I'm also going to show you how to be productive in the digital world. So she done made some cover arts for me and a couple other things, you know, just because she likes to be creative, and I help her in that space as well too. But she had said, Daddy, life never ends. I just sat there blown. I'm like, came out of nowhere. Of course it came from somewhere, but you know what I mean. I'm just like, yo, that is wild that you are saying that, because we wasn't talking on anything on a higher vibration or frequency. That's just the space that she be in, because that's my seed. And I make sure she keeps her connection with Source established. I said, yo, that is fire, big girl. And then I kept saying it, life never ends, life never ends. You know, you're right, life never ends. We're here now in these vessels, but then we have another chapter and a whole nother journey after this. So technically she's right, life never ends. I was like, I'm gonna have to start using that part of my slogan. LNE, life never ends. LNE. I was just going through that process all weekend, and I'm pretty sure somebody has made this statement somewhere else in life, you know. And I was just thinking, damn, yo, that's so simple and it's so deep at the same time. And when I look at my mini, it's like she knows the real peace signs. She knows her chakra system. She understands that there's a lot of poisons in these foods. She know the good foods from the bad foods for the most part. It's a lot of foods out here, but for the most part, she get the concept. She know the difference between, you know, the system ratchet music, you know, party music, dance music, and she know the difference between the spiritual music and knowledge that I also open the avenue for her as well too. When I was growing up, there was only gospel and then there was ratchet music. The gospel didn't really pull me. All the ha 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 ha. It don't work for me. It don't move me. I'm still part of this generation while I'm here in this vessel, you know. So I needed something with a little bit more drums, a little bit more vibey for me to amplify my warrior spirit. So what a lot of people call trap music, you know, I always converted. When I listen to music, I substitute words because I never tried to fit in. I've always just blended. And now being at this place and space in life, you know, going through another weird season in my damn life, I got a lot of shit going on. I say a lot of shit. It's a lot going on. And I always know that it could be worse. Even on my lowest days, you know, I don't concern myself with trying to fit in with the people at the store, the people at my job, the people at these places. I just be concerned with making sure I'm being me and keeping my spirit at a certain level. You know, I started vibing with one of my associates on the game. We ran a couple games one night on 2K. It was late night because I'm usually working all day anyway. So at the end of the night, sometimes I like to get on a game, get a couple rounds in. I heard somebody make a statement about the gaming. Guys need to start gaming, blah, 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 doing all this shit. And then I heard somebody else make a video and they was like, well, you gotta think about it like this. My generation, we grew up with, you know, I came right after Sega Saturn, and which is like one of the first oldest systems. I was here for Nintendo. There's been gaming consoles through my whole life. Telling the guy to stop gaming, especially if he's productive, it's like telling a female to stop wearing makeup. You know, they've been almost doing it their whole life, you know, from when they're little. Their moms is giving them lip gloss and all these other things to start putting on their face to enhance their looks. You know what I mean? So it's just a crazy world that we live in. And when I was processing the fitting in and blending in part, because my daughter knows all of these things and I take the time out and do one-on-ones with her, and plus when me and her together, it's just me and her. I shut everything down when it's daddy-daughter time. Everything else can wait till when I don't have her, because the creator, the universe set it up to where, all right, well, this is your one-on-one time with your mini. Y'all do whatever y'all gotta do. If you have something you want to do personally for yourself, you do it when she's not with you. And I understood that. And she's at that age now to where I'm trying to help her understand how to blend in. I haven't used these words to her, but I allow her to listen to some of the TikTok songs and music and stuff they got, because she knows the difference between that and the other music. She knows the difference between when she knows a lot of the dance moves. I tell her if she's gonna do dance videos, don't turn your back to the camera. You can do the girls' dance moves facing the camera. You don't have to turn your back to it. I'm not gonna tell her, hey, don't do all of these dances, but you don't have to record it and post it. But if you do want to do the dances and you just want to record yourself doing it and, you know, not share, just do it. I start implementing, don't turn your back to the camera, because all the focus and attention is on the backside. You know what I mean? These are subtle things that I've been doing to teach her how to blend in, but not fit in. When she goes to school with her peers, she can sing along and they can do their dance routines to whatever TikTok video trends is going on or YouTube shorts is going on. You know what I mean? She blends right in. But my mini is always her. So at the same time, She understands that when somebody start giving her weird energy, she just separate herself. Unless they doing something weird to her and she gotta put her hands on her, which I show her how to stand with her feet. I show her how to hold her hands. I show her how to throw jabs, hooks, uppercuts. And I always emphasize, do not fight boys. Don't hit boys. You don't gotta yell and scream at boys. They are stronger than you. I don't want her to try to fit in with this modern Western culture where you feel as though you yelling or screaming at a guy is you defending yourself. I done seen enough videos of women getting killed or getting abused or some crazy situation, all because they wasn't taught how to defend themselves being in their feminine energy. You cannot use masculine energy against masculine energy and expect not anything to come of it. You shouldn't do that. That's not very wise at all, you know? And I'm not always gonna be there. So I would just like her to know ways to blend, but not try to fit in. You know, we can look at this from a lot of different angles, you know, because this world is built off of duality, you know. They say opposites attract. To a degree, yes, you know what I mean? Because I wouldn't want my spousal partner to have the same vibration as me. I need them to have their own feminine energy. I don't need another female body that's walking masculine. That's too same and too similar. I was put in this vessel for a reason. I've learned this vessel, what I can do and what I shouldn't do. The same way they're supposed to learn theirs. See, they never made learning fun for us. They didn't teach us the things that we really need to know. They teach us up, down, left, right, but they don't teach us in and out. In and out. You don't want your little ones to feel left out or to be picked on or to be bullied and all of these things. So you have to kind of, for the next generation, you got to teach them how to blend. Teach them how to blend. They don't ever force them or tell them to fit in. Because we wouldn't be in the spaces that we're in right now if we was trying to fit in. We just knew how to blend. I did prison time, I blended in fine. I went in and came out looking better than I went in. I never had nobody trying any of that weird, fruity, funny shit. And I ain't never get into one physical altercation that I did not want to get into myself. Nobody forced my hand. Because I've always been me. And I heard a lot through a lot of men while I was in there that I don't have a dog face, meaning I don't look scary. And I'm like, shit, that's cool. But they all said the same thing after they made that statement. You ain't got no dog face, but we could tell that you gonna put some work in. That's all that need to be said. Because I am a loving, laughing, peaceful warrior at the end of the day. I hee ha ha with you all day while we blending, but don't think I'm trying to fit in because soon as things turn, look, this temperature gonna raise up real quick, you know. We just gotta keep these things in mind and make sure that we implementing these things in the youth so that way they understand, especially some of the boys trying to fit in with the other dudes out here. Even when I caught my charges that got me locked up, I wasn't even trying to fit in. It literally was my initiative to do. I didn't have any strikes on me. I didn't have anything productive going on, just working a regular ass job that had no meaning to it. And I felt like I wanted to go do something else, a little bit more spontaneous, so I did, you know? It didn't have anything to do with somebody forcing me or I'm trying to fit in with this group of guys, so let me go over here and do this. No, it was my initiative. I took full responsibility for it. It is what it is. You know what I mean? We live and we learn on this side. I cannot speak for everybody else. But keep these things in mind. Like, don't, if you know that you are you on the inside, when you got to go to certain locations and you got to change your dress attire, just do it. It's not that big of a deal. You're still you. You're just blending, so that way it's not as much attention and attraction on you. Some people want all that attention, but when you moving in this light, you're going to get that attention regardless. Even when I try to turn my light down a little bit, they still be like, I see you over there. Oh, I really love your locks. Oh, I really love your necklace. Oh, you look like you from the islands. Oh, you really fine. Oh, you really know how to do this. It's all these random compliments that be coming just out of the woodworks in real lifetime. And I just be sitting there like, okay. I don't know what your intentions are, what you're trying to get at, but thank you. And I keep it moving. It's a very simple process. But I have been running up a little bit long, you know what I mean? Tapping everything down below. Peace and love to the kings and queens.